All right, everybody. Abby, Dan, Alex.
Danny. Hello.
Are you
Hi.
ready to survive Mars?
Always.
I think so. Well, I mean, insofar as anyone can survive Mars.
This is Surviving Mars. This is a Paradox Interactive joint. So get ready for a lot of clicking and a lot of reading, or at least skimming over the things that we probably should be reading in this quick look.
Fair enough.
I have mixed feelings on this. This is $40 playing off of Steam.
Yes.
Right now here. We're going to go through some of the, we'll do a start and then we'll load into a game later. It's going to be kind of an odd quick look. It is a sim. It is a manager style game. It is very slow moving.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll try and go through some of it and then fast forward ahead.
They tend to be hard to show off in quick looks.
Yes, very much so, especially when there is a lot of text and it is text heavy.
Right.
The premise of this game is you are starting a colony on Mars from scratch. If you go to start a new game, you can kind of set up the mission parameters for what you get, and these are basically modifiers to how difficult your time is going to be.
Okay.
One of the easier ones is this International Mars mission as a sponsor. Each sponsor gets different bonuses, kind of like Civ. It's like picking your Civ.
Right.
So you got International Mars mission, which one of their biggest things is the rockets will synthesize fuel. That'll come into play later. You have a large rocket payload. Some of these other ones will make more sense, but those are huge.
Do they have a mode that's like unlimited money just so you can like build a cool base?
So that stuff I haven't seen, like a sandbox mode.
Sure.
I haven't seen, but this does seem to have a heavy mod support in it.
Okay.
So I'm pretty sure you could just set that up if somebody hasn't done that already.
What is the Church of the New Ark?
Where do you see that?
That's toward the bottom,
Oh, okay.
right above Russia.
So let's see why
Okay.
this is hard. You're only gonna get $4 million. Is that
All right.
millions of dollars or is that $4,000 million?
That's not the way numbers work.
Let's just say that is not a lot of money.
Is
that
Russia
like a-
very hard?
Is that like a Heaven's Gate cult?
No, they're just hard.
I don't know. And the research is, so the funding's big. The research is also very big, where you see research per soul, which we'll just call a year.
Right.
The more of that you have, again, kind of in Civ terms, the faster you're going to unlock new research. But these bonuses are actually where it comes down to being very, very different. So one of the other big things, the commander profile, is also huge. Rocket scientist, which will start with an extra rocket, but more importantly, the CO2 jet propulsion, which is going to get you another technology out of the game. This stuff is probably a lot to take in right now.
Mm-hmm. No, I think I'm following you along here.
Yeah, as somebody who's played Civ a lot, you're probably getting what these
I got the
bonuses
ideas.
mean.
Yeah.
I just understand because I'm really smart.
Okay, you get it. The company logo, just do what you want. You know.
That doesn't affect difficulty somehow.
No. And the mystery, I haven't really messed around with, but I guess it's just going to be something happens during the course of the game.
Oh, can you unlock Ghosts of Mars?
I don't.
What is spheres?
Is there a point where you unlock, like, find a tunnel and then like a bunch of Ghosts of Mars take over your colonists and they all start like putting metal objects through their faces and killing people with?
I lost
with
that
shovels?
round. Yeah, that
Okay.
went poorly.
All right.
Is
Is Ice Cube there?
I just did the Red Planet version.
Oh, Red Planet.
I'm a Mission to Mars guy.
So that's
no one is a Mission to Mars guy. Come on.
so that's if you want to start a new game and go through all the parameters. If you just want to get started and play this game, you could just push easy start, and
Yeah,
it'll
just
basically.
dump you in.
I think it rolls you with the International Mars mission.
Okay.
And we're gonna do that, and hopefully we won't lose too much of my saves. I've got 2 other saves that we'll jump into later. Again, it's gonna be a little bit of a slow start here, so maybe I can explain as we're going, and we'll fast forward a bit.
We're here with you all the way, Vinny.
Okay, thanks.
Nobody goes to Mars for a quick trip.
Well, nobody even went to Mars yet.
Yeah.
Right now, I am in robots only mode. There are going to be no people here yet. So I have to pick. This is Mars. Welcome to it. I have to pick where I want to land.
Smaller than I
In
thought
a
it would be.
crater.
That's probably not a great idea unless there are resources in that crater.
Ugh.
So right now, they have revealed this one segment of the map, and there are some resources. And I'm going to kind of just get rid of a lot of these tooltips that happen early in the game. This is concrete. This is, I think, rare metals. Yeah. I would love to find water. That's going to be a big thing for people living on Mars.
Is that a thing?
I kind of feel like they've been looking for that for a while
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. So There will be water deposits. Listen, I don't know about the technology and the science behind it, buried ice, whatever. You need to get water. So what I'm going to do is you have these kind of single-use orbital probe deployments that can just reveal parts of the map. You just burn through them. And I'm going to do that kind of around here looking for anything else.
Milestone achieved.
There's the water. That's pretty good.
Anomaly found.
All right. So this actually seems like maybe an okay place to land. Yeah, Dan.
How many robots do we actually have on the surface of Mars right now? Because I know we got that rover up
2 or
there.
3 broken ones.
Oh,
I
really?
think
Do they not go
we have
anymore?
like Curiosity and I think one other one.
Are they active?
There's one main one.
They're
that is
just
still
Right, there's
going
one main
around.
one, and then there's another one that landed and then got like a bunch of dust on its.
And there's
like,
one that just crashed into the surface
Oh,
and got
really?
obliterated. Remember
That was a
the,
while
that was
ago.
like the something with like the metric to imperial conversion they didn't do right, and they just basically smashed it into the side of Mars.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, let's land our ship kind of around here.
Okay.
Spirit and Opportunity are the 2 Mars rovers.
Okay.
I'm gonna go. I think that's a good spot. Yeah, that's a good spot. That way we can maybe try and get this to a colony pretty quickly. It takes a while. So I'm gonna land here. When the ships land, they kick up a lot of dust. The dust on Mars will cause machines to eventually break down,
Okay.
and you'll see the dust kind of
That's a problem. It's a very dusty
kick up.
planet.
It's a very dusty planet.
There are like storms, right? Like dust
In this
storms?
game, there are dust storms.
Okay.
You have to take a lot of this with a grain of salt. I don't
Right.
know how much is science versus science fantasy
Right.
and science fiction.
That looks like a whale popping out of the
Yeah.
thing.
The ship? It's pretty cool, huh?
Hi, guys.
Did you find water?
I'm full of robots.
Look at my little babies.
So here are the little babies. One of these is a remote controlled RC transport. It's going to be able to let me move materials around the surface of Mars. Here is the rover, which is going to have a bunch of drones attached to it. These guys with the little arrows are part of this rover. I can click this to recall the drones. And this is an explorer which can go off and find things like this anomaly. So finding things like this anomaly will uncover research in your research
Oh, boy.
tree. I am going to just start. I think I talked to you guys a little bit about this of like, you can queue up 5 different research things. You can also take them off. This fills out pretty quickly depending on the
active
anomalies you're
research.
finding. And sometimes there's a lot. I've gotten better having played a few hours of this now at knowing what I want. But initially, I was just like, okay.
What does any of this do?
Just go. I don't know. But there are things you want to look into. I just didn't know what I would need eventually. And now I kind of do. And these are actually randomized per play.
Oh, okay.
And the things
Like
you...
the order that they come in? Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is actually interesting.
Yeah,
'Cause
that is-
it makes you adapt your play style a little bit. So I do want this high-rise building eventually. It's not going to help me right away. A lot of these are for when people come. Actually,
Why wouldn't you just do them all now, though?
I am, but
Oh,
it's a
okay.
priority.
Oh, I
So
see.
Which one
Gotcha.
do I want first? So actually, the first thing I would like is for the drones and rovers to move faster.
So this really is from scratch. Like the early game is just making a habitable space for your colonists to eventually
Yep.
show up to.
So you are... I'll just click the rest of these. You are, yes, sending drones first, people later.
Right.
You have a limited number of resources. I'll pull up this resources tab.
Are the resources like? Do you use resources when you send the drones out, or like how does that work?
the drones basically just run off of electricity and have to recharge. So I will need to make a place for them to recharge eventually. The ship came with some researches, polymers, electronics, and machine parts on this shuttle. But you can see if I go back to here, this is what my total inventory is for all of these things.
Which is not very high.
It's not super high, and on the left there, I can't roll over it without losing it, but you can see what I'm producing and what I'm consuming. Do you
Right.
see where it's like, hey, you're producing nothing, but you're consuming nothing? That's going to change pretty quickly.
Right.
One of the big things before we get started here also is at any time I have 5 rockets. Again, this is based on the difficulty of the mission. 5 rockets available to me to send from Earth to Mars or from Mars to Earth, but I can request them to load them up with polymers and send them to me.
5 rockets in flight.
Yeah.
Afternoon delight.
Well,
Okay.
hopefully not. We got work to do. And it's basically based on the cargo capacity. So as I put more things like polymers on here, I will lose capacity on my rocket and how much money I have overall. Okay? That's the setup.
I was way into friendship number 1, honestly.
We can name this whatever we want.
All right.
The other thing you could put on the rocket are passengers, but we're not ready for that.
Yeah.
They would die.
They would suffocate.
Okay, so what do we need? We need to get started making this a habitable place for our colonists. We can also turn on the radio. I had turned it off because I was listening to a bunch of tutorials for this game most of the time I was playing it.
Is it just like David Bowie over and over again?
No.
Okay.
Ooh.
God,
This feels
even
like-
in this is a dystopian future because it's still just like twee indie music.
It's like the stock music on YouTube videos.
Yes.
If this is the Free Earth channel music, I think I'm joining the other side.
Yeah, totally.
This is the official Mars radio channel. I had Surviving Mars, which is just atmospheric stuff.
Okay.
That seems better.
Yeah, like this.
Yeah. This
Yeah.
sounds better.
All right.
And then, we're out there colonizing Mars.
I'm a
space truckers, yeah.
cowboy.
We'll just put this here. All right.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah. No, this is set in the mood.
Uh-huh. All right. This is hard to concentrate.
All right. So the
with that
first
going.
thing, build an Arby's.
Yeah.
All right, so I've got the drones. A big concept in this game is drone controllers. So you see this ring around this. I can't.
No, no. You
I
have
love
to.
it.
You
Power
have to
through.
leave
I'll
this
just
at least
take-
for the next few
I was
minutes.
just taking
turn it
it
up?
down a little bit.
Give me a
All
few
right.
minutes of this.
So see this border around here?
Yes.
This spaceship has the ability to control drones within this border.
Okay.
Outside of this border, drones just won't be automated.
Okay.
This drone controller here, I know they all look very similar and it's actually kind of a problem, but this drone controller has its own ring around it once you deploy the drones, which is very helpful because it can go off into remote locations but still be able to control drones.
Right.
First thing we're going to do is start excavating concrete. Pretty easy. Right click. Here's our build menu. We're going to go and find the concrete excavator. Tip for new players. You don't have to build on top of the icon. It's actually visually represented by this like strata that's here.
Right.
So you actually, when you click on this, you see there are 1,500 units of concrete to be extracted. This took me a little bit of watching. It wasn't actually explained in any good tutorials. You want to actually put these to maximize your extraction out of here because it will run out of stuff in the hexagons that are lit up right now.
Right.
Once it's done in that spot, it will be like, I can't get any more.
So,
So
we
then you have
won't
to-
go outside of that hexagon.
Yeah, exactly.
So you have to build another one after that.
You'd have to tear it down, build another. So at first I was like, oh, it's just going to suck up everything around here if I build it on the icon. But really what I wanted to do is build stuff kind of like, I'm going to hold down shift, a little more like this.
Oh, so you're making a few here to kind
Yeah,
of
so
cover our bases?
that'll cover the whole thing.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Eventually these will run out and I could maybe scoop up some other stuff that's on the side of it.
I don't know if I love that choice, but I get it.
Yeah, it's interesting. It wasn't, I was very confused as to why it said this thing was out of concrete, but I'd click on there and be like, there's 700 more.
Yeah.
And then I realized, oh, you're actually looking at the concrete. So these are going to need power. I should also mention you can pause, play at normal speed, a little faster and a little faster. Most of the time I play this game on hyperspeed because it goes pretty slowly.
Fair.
And I will turn that up in just a second here. There's not a whole lot of consequence, at least until you get people for not doing
Yeah,
that.
imagine once you actually are like spinning a lot of plates, that might get hard, but
Yeah. These are going to need metals to be built and machine parts. Our rocket came with some machine parts. There will be surface deposits of metal. Are these not them? Around here somewhere, which I will need to go collect like this. We'll do that in a second. They're going to need power. So these will each need 5 power once they're built. You can't see it here, but you can see it here. See the consumption, 5 lightning bolts?
yes.
So luckily, these large solar panels produce 5 power.
One thing Mars does have is the sun.
So I'm going to stick one near here for now. Just one for now. And I'm going to need to run a cable from this guy to this guy. Let's go. Time to go. Stick it on full speed ahead. Our rover or drones are coming out. They're going to try and go find some metal, I assume.
Okay, this
or-
music actually works perfect for hyperspeed.
Yeah.
Right now they're using the resources from the ship, which I assume are the machine parts. They're loading up, but we don't have any metals. These guys just ran over here to go get some metals. I'm going to use another tip. I just paused it. Is you can use this transport to just go get metal.
Did you tell the little drones to get metal, or are they
No.
doing it on their own?
They're good on their own to an extent, as long as they're in that ring
Okay.
and they know you've kind of set up something for them to do.
Right.
They can figure out what they need to make that happen.
Yeah. You can see these guys are not within the ring of the metal, but if I move him a little closer, let's get it in there.
Get in there.
Get in there. So they're in the ring of the metal, but they're not within. These are not in its orbit, so they don't know what to do with the metal. So if I put a,
I mean, would they put the metal in the storage or?
So I need to make storage.
Okay.
So if I make a storage here, my dumping site. If I make let's just make a metal depot. They will go and pick up this metal. So I'm going to put this here because this guy's getting that. Now you can see they're just going to go get metal and dump it in this storage here. Unfortunately, they are building. I can prioritize these to make them be built in the order I want them.
Does it matter?
Well, I put the power next to this one.
Oh, sure.
The reason I'm only building power next to one is eventually I actually want to build wind energy.
Mm-hmm.
So solar doesn't work at night. Wind will work the whole time, but I need concrete to build wind energy, so I need to get this guy built first. So we've got this guy going. This guy's got our metals here. I'm going to move him closer and tell him to unload these resources just over here. He should just put it on a
Just
pallet.
dump them.
Yeah, just dump it.
New dump zone.
Yeah, there we go. I will have to build a drone control hub. Again, a lot of these are being serviced off the ship. As soon as they take this ship up, this whole ring is going to disappear. There will be no control for these drones.
So can that ship go somewhere else once you've used up all the resources around here?
I send it back to Earth, and it can
Okay.
bring stuff back.
And then you still have use of that, right?
Again, yeah, a lot of this stuff is different based on the difficulty. Some places only have one ship, right? I've got 4 other ships ready for me.
Okay.
And you can see it's actually refueling because of one of those perks that it makes its own fuel. But that's not always the case, depending on your difficulty.
Right.
You can make the fuel. All right, here we go. Hopefully this is going to be made.
Looks like they're figuring out the solar panel right now.
Yep. And this concrete extractor will start producing concrete.
As a person who likes the machinery
But it's nighttime.
of strategy games and the various units you can build, I can see how this would be something people would get obsessed with. 'Cause
Yeah.
It seems like there's a lot of neat toys you can build on Mars.
Yeah. There is. When I load into my game, I'll get a little
Yeah.
deeper into some of my issues with it. All right, so one of the other, it's nighttime, that's why this is not going. One of the other things we'll need to do is start exploring the rest of Mars. Yeah, stuff is, meteorites come down.
It definitely seems like it takes so long. Like I was expecting you to be like building a little city. And it seems like how long does it take until you can actually start making a city?
A while.
Oh wow.
Depending how good you are, I'm not very
Sure,
good.
but
Have
still,
you gone through what would be considered a complete game of this yet?
No.
Okay.
what's a complete game?
I don't know.
As in, like, you get to the whatever the end game
Yeah,
is.
I don't know. What
What's
that
like the
is.
end game in City Skylines? Like you get like 1 million citizens or something?
Well, in something like City Skylines, I think that's more of an evergreen, like, hey, I'm just going to keep building around this, or I start a new city. Like, in more of like a strategy thing, like, say, like a Civ, there are victory conditions you are trying to meet.
Okay.
And in my
interesting.
playthroughs, I don't think I've even gotten to the mystery thing that
Right.
Oh, wow,
you're in.
okay.
So I've queued up 9 areas to scan, actually 10 areas, including this one, to scan, and I'll just over time uncover these parts of the map. I can build, what they want me to build here is a scanner. That's one of the tooltips is telling me to speed that up. So this sensor tower I can build. Again, I can build power next to it. I usually like using the wind turbines for the most part because they don't have to worry about turning off at night.
And it's better for the environment.
This is great for the environment. Much better than solar.
Mhm.
It's screw the
Yep.
sun. Sun's out there to kill you. Everybody knows that. Though it does take concrete, but we are getting concrete now from this concrete extractor.
Is that gray stuff the stuff you've mined?
It's like perimeter where it is mining. You can see the thing kind of just goes within this range, which is helpful when it says, hey, I have no more concrete to mine. You can see the areas that still
Right.
have stuff. I'm going to build a depot here. A lot of these depots are cheap and you just build them. So I'm going to build a concrete depot for us to put our concrete. And I'm going to start building solar panels or wind turbines next to these guys. You can hold down shift to build multiple ones.
To the Red Frontier with me, Kim Tai-hee. We supply an endless hit parade of musical home runs.
There you go. There's your DJ.
Wow, satellite radio.
Don't let anyone on the radio these days.
Shortcut key C to get your power line. You'll want that. You'll be doing a lot of that. All right. Hopefully those will get built.
Can you build
Sector
over top of
scan.
the power lines, or is it like once you put anything in that little hexagon? it's
These
done?
little dots, they don't really like building over.
Mhm. But as far as the line itself,
The lines can't really cross through stuff.
Oh, look
Okay.
at that thing.
There we go.
Look at all that wind.
wow, that's cool.
Why is it getting powered?
Not enough wind.
Is it connected?
It's connected. Oh, they haven't built this yet. Okay. See, it's still like transparent.
Oh.
Well, build it, you
I know,
doofuses.
seriously, get on it.
What are you even doing?
Are we out of metal?
You
No,
might
there
be.
it goes. Okay. All right. These guys have loaded up some metal. There's some more over here. So if I put this drone car, again, it's all about where that ring is. If I keep this within the ring and these within the ring, they will automatically mine that metal and stick it in here. I can also set this to go on a, let's make a universal depot, which will hold a little bit of everything. And
Are there like hazards that any of these like drones or other things could like run into?
so there's dust, there's meteorites. They will run out of battery if you send them out on their own for
Right.
too long. I'm gonna set this guy up on a transport route from this metal depot to
Research
this
complete.
one. All right, we've got our research going, and you can add things to the hot bar down here whenever you want.
Sector scanned.
Let's go for our explorer drone. He's hanging out here. We're gonna explore this anomaly, hopefully get some good tech. And this is kind of the loop. So eventually we get water. Eventually you get you build a dome, and those are here.
A human dome.
A human dome for people.
Oh, it's so small.
It's a tiny dome.
Well, it's a
different-
first dome.
There are different
That
sized
seems
domes.
to be huge.
I mean, that rocket's pretty big.
That's a big rocket. People are pretty.
Yeah, I think the
small.
scale here
Okay.
is a little wonky, but
But our industry is off to a great start here.
Yes.
Here we go.
I can see the Factorio in you like starting to bristle a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying it's as good as Factorio, Vinny. I'm just saying.
We'll make that drone hub because that's what it wants. It also needs nice that most things need 5 power except for bigger stuff, at least early on, and most of these provide 5 power.
So, are
Anomaly
you
analyzed. Milestone
building for aesthetics
achieved.
yet at all?
No. This
Okay.
is right now. Like if I were planning this for my own game, I might build a power farm, right? And then run the cable to power everything. Right now, I don't have a power grid as much as I'm just individually powering each one of these.
Right.
And you can make a power grid. Now I'll load that save up in just a second here. We have our sensor tower, which is helping us scan a little faster, closer we are to things. We've got our metals here. And a lot of it is just making sure you have the resources you need to keep going.
Sector scanned.
You can come out of the map at any time and see that we found some great water. We can start building that water pump. But I think I'm just going to fast forward a little bit in time to where my other save is.
Okay. Load it up.
Let's go to this one. So this is 48 years in. I have colonists have arrived here. I've got a dome. Actually, you know what? Let's go into this one.
And then come to the other one later.
Yeah.
Wait, that's 115.
Yeah. So this is further along, but I was a worse player.
Okay.
Oh,
So-
okay,
Crop
cool.
failure
Yeah.
reported.
This is before you
Resources are low.
learned.
Yeah. So
Sector scanned.
let me find where I'm at on this map. You can see I've scanned a lot more here.
Yes.
But I've also didn't do a great job organizing all this because I was still really learning what this game was about. Here is my power grid for this one. A lot of wind, a lot of solar. These are batteries, which would hopefully store the solar during the nighttime. And if it's pretty clear, but you can kind of see, hey, what's your maximum production? How much are you consuming? And how much is then getting stored there?
Okay.
That's pretty clear.
Yeah.
Here's what everybody wants to see. The dome.
Yeah.
You can see the dome here. Each colonist, and I have 27 of them in this dome, has unique personality traits. So we've got Lassie Norden, a geologist. They are stressed out.
Oh,
They are
no.
middle-aged. They are geologists. They live in the living quarters.
Not
looking for a job. So when they build the domes, they come empty. And
He's
then
a party animal, and he's melancholic. That's okay.
but very fit. So you build the domes, they come empty, and you choose what things you want to put in them. We'll just build another dome.
I like the look
here.
of those houses.
Let's see. Let me go to my other domes. So they kind of come a little more like this.
It's like a pizza.
It's like a pizza, and you decide what you're going to put on the pizza. So in this,
I want pepperoni.
well, that's spicy.
Sausage.
Oxygen.
So folks will, when you land it, they'll run into the dome and they'll take up residence. And then I've got things like this electronics factory, which makes electronics components, so I shouldn't have to order them from Earth anymore. The idea trying to be, eventually I will become self-sufficient on here. This is a research lab, which helps me research things faster. This is the electronics store, because people need to buy things like iPods and stuff.
Everyone needs a Radio Shack.
They still have iPods. They brought them back.
Yeah, they're very, very popular on Mars.
Hey,
Wow.
They're super retro.
My
and
iPod,
records.
my iPod Fat still works. Okay, that thing still
But
functions.
do you use it?
In my car, I do.
Oh, okay, interesting.
So you've got these stats for your overall dome, health, sanity. This is a big one. Comfort. This one of these people wants to drink and has nowhere to drink. So you can build a bar. I built the electronics store because they wanted places to shop, right? They want their electronics. If they're not comfortable, they won't have kids and they won't repopulate. You won't have a native Martian population.
I kind of feel like these should not be high on the priority list of people who are trying to make a livable space on an inhospitable planet.
So it's actually an interesting thing when you get your first set of colonists. The first group you get, you actually have a window where they have to survive for a certain amount of time before you can even get more people.
right.
So they actually do
this
that.
this took a while to get to the consumerist stage.
I think it's after you pass like 30 years or whatever it is.
Okay.
Then you can get more people and try and get, after the founders have built farms.
That makes more sense.
Speaking of farms, here are the farms. You can select crops for crop rotation. There is a whole thing with like, hey, it's going to deplete the soil. This type of vegetable is going to do a certain thing. I just let them make their food. See, like soil quality decrease 10%. Depending on what you're doing, soil quality increase 10%. You kind of want to try and balance that
Right.
out over your crop rotation. It's a paradox game. It's got some detail in there.
Yes.
What other things? These are residences. This is, I think, the diner? No, casino. So when you
Good Lord.
when you build stuff for the dome, you can see exactly what kinds of bonuses they will have. Services, playful. This is mostly the kids stuff. A lot of it's going to be playing. Let's go in here. Casino. Okay, so it's going to service people who need luxury, gaming, gambling, and social. Not drinking, though. They
It's
don't
for
have
the
a,
gamers.
They don't have a license. It's for the gamers. I think electronic stores for the gamers also. Shopping and gaming. So you want to build these things to match the needs of your people in your dome, so they're happy, so they can get to work mining. Of course, the end result of all my mining expedition, make fucking rare metals so we can sell them back to Earth. So this is a profitable venture. So they are mining rare metals that I then load up to this ship, send it back to Earth, and Caravella gets paid.
My God, you are a Cohagen.
Yep, basically that's the whole thing. Otherwise, I delete the dome and turn the power off. But really, that's how you make money. You sell shit back to Earth that they don't have there, like these rare metals. A very cool thing about starting a game with the International Mars Mission as your sponsor, or that, remember that thing I said in the beginning, one of those perks was like jet propulsion?
Yes.
It lets you get these shuttle hubs, which are fantastic. You saw those drones running back and forth a lot to get all the resources. These shuttles just fly and pick up the resources and move them where they need to go.
That's handy.
It's super handy. So they pick up shit that they need from here and fly all around within my little whatever.
I like that they look like the flying gunships from Terminator.
They will, yes. We made them like that on purpose. We want to intimidate everybody. People will move between domes. If domes are close enough to each other, they will run between the domes. If they would work somewhere else, they have helmets and stuff on.
Okay.
They'll just run between them. They will move between domes with shuttles if they need to, if something makes sense. What else? These are big tunnels. They're very expensive to make, but you see these little icons next to them?
Yes.
Those are water pipes, and that's basically when you build
There
things
are
like...
Earth-sick colonists.
Yeah, well, tough luck. Earth's colonists, I believe, will go back on a shuttle and leave.
What, do they just want fun stuff or like what
They,
do
I
they
don't
just?
know,
They probably want to breathe
they
real
probably
air.
want iPods.
Been there.
So I'll just make the shuttles go away so they can't get
Resources
home.
are low.
So let me pause it again so they stop telling me things. When you build something that is a oxygen producer or water producer, you get these pipes. This is how you set up your pipe grid. Oxygen and water can travel through the same pipe, so you can just have one pipe going through that gets tapped into by oxygen producers and stuff like that. These tunnels will allow you to run a pipe to one of its pipe icons, and then when you build this, I believe my other one is over here. You can set where the other one comes out, so you don't have to run a pipe the distance of your entire map.
That's cool.
Yeah,
It just sort of takes care of that for you.
it takes care of that, and you can. I believe you can just kind of see the other end of it like that. If you run the pipe, they do break down.
Right.
The more pipe you have, they deteriorate over time, and they have to be fixed.
That's what my dad always told me growing up.
Yep, don't lay a lot of pipe.
Gonna have to fix it.
So over here, I've got water coming out. I'm making fuel over here. Some other stuff, some concrete. You can see this concrete extractor
Cable fault reported.
needs to be unloaded because the storage space is full. It's a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, you're juggling a lot here.
Here are a bunch of other domes I have made. This one is saying, hey, we don't have enough people in here, or we don't. Nobody wants to work. We have 14 colonists and 27 vacant work spots, which means we just have a lot of places. And again, you micromanage this stuff. You can go into, let's go into this place, and hey, I've got this shift here full of people. I have turned these other shifts off, like afternoon and late shifts, because there's just not enough people to work there. I could fire all these people.
It
a
sounds
lot.
like you should, because they don't want to work.
It's a lot of detail. Well, this person is a scientist who is working in a machine parts factory. They are not happy. If I had an engineer there, they would be happier, and I'd want to shift them all around.
Look, there ain't no science factory.
Nobody's working at the old hydroponic farm. Probably not a good thing.
Yeah.
So
The colonists need their weed. Get on it.
So I could end this shift or fire somebody, put more people here. I could basically close these shifts down at the old space bar and say, you really got to get to work making food. It's that kind of stuff.
Gotcha.
Like, listen, diner's closed. Eventually, if you close enough shifts, it'll take down the vacant work slots, and you can manage that.
Okay.
I'm trying to move through a lot of these things
No, that's
pretty
fair.
quickly. It's a lot of detail.
There's a lot.
Let's see how this ship is doing. So it's basically refueled. It's gathering exports, but there's nothing there yet. This guy's maybe loading one in. No, we could just take it off. Goodbye. It goes
Go
back
home.
Goes back home.
See you later.
So we've got some ships waiting. I have pretty much picked up most of the passengers I wanted. This is another big part of this, that are the perfect candidates for a Mars mission. Kind of now into the scrubs. So you have a lot of filters you can put on your candidates. Say like, hey, don't have anybody that is lazy or an idiot.
Wow. Wow. So judgy.
Or a hypochondriac or a whiner.
Or a coward.
Or a coward. Hey,
I'm just going to say right now, I don't think cowards would want to go to Mars. That is...
you don't know the condition on Earth.
all right, fair enough.
So you can kind of go and say, no, don't pick anybody with these, please. But unfortunately,
That's all you got.
that means I have 2 colonists that match who will come. If I turn on the traits, now I have 45. So in the early stages, I was able to get a bunch of colonists that were kind of the perfect age group. I want, adults and middle-aged. I want great perks like workaholic and a survivor and sexy.
Gamer and nerd.
I want a gamer and a nerd. So like
The rarest of combos.
so I've got one workaholic in here, but they might also share one of the other flaws. So you go through all of this stuff and you can pick what you want. There are default things. This quirk, vegan. Those quirky vegans. You can go through it and pick this stuff. I just, at this
That is
point,
some weird shit.
in this round, I was just like, I just need people to fill out my domes. Listen, if you're an alcoholic or a gamer or, God forbid, a vegan,
Just don't let us know.
Yeah.
so you can come on my ship. So I've got 2 matching colonists, so I'm going to say, hey, anybody with flaws, whatever, you're good to come on. Load them up into the ship and launch it. And they'll
Bring
come.
those sexy vegans.
They will take off. It'll take a little while for them to come to me. You can see this here. They can only survive a certain amount of time on the ship. If you leave them on the ship too long, you're going to lose them.
Makes
so
sense.
You have to time it to where you have residencies. I do.
Pipe leak reported.
Whatever. They'll figure it out. And that's kind of it.
Do you want to load up that last save
Yeah,
of
I'll
yours?
load up that last one. It's going to be what's up with you? Okay, for some reason.
Celebrity gamer.
Really?
Oh, Parth Bakshi. Yeah.
He got
Parth.
picked for the Mars mission because of how good he was at the Fortnite.
Man,
Right.
I saw him at PAX the other year. He snuffed me so hard. I waved to him in the hallway. And he
Again,
Oh,
you
man.
can pin them to the thing if you want. I don't know why I pinned this person, but I'm glad I did. Let's load up this last game.
Load your last save, Vinny.
Load my last save. So this was
So this is one you're doing better on, you said.
this one I felt like I understood the mechanics a little bit more. I'd watched a couple more tutorials. It's a little less
Colonists have arrived.
advanced,
Pipe leak
but I feel like
reported.
everything was a little more
Together.
together. So here's my energy situation here. I've made a lot of wind farms.
Oh, yeah. No, that's efficient.
Solar, which feeds into these batteries. I've got a dome, which I just started here. Some ships, and this is a bigger dome. So I found this technology to make a bigger dome, which is being constructed currently. It is the only other size dome I have unlocked in my playthrough, but you can see it is bigger. It is medium.
Still only medium, though. So that
Compared.
means that somehow there isn't a mythical, even bigger dome.
There's
Yeah.
a larger dome.
How hard is it to move these domes? Can you?
You don't move the dome.
Okay, but could you? Would you just destroy it, or
You have to destroy it.
okay? Would all the people die?
You'd have to have them go to somewhere else.
Okay, interesting.
A thing about this that I kind of don't like, or that's not explained super well, is that some things like mining metals need to be done by humans. They need to run these factories. If you see them run into the dome.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa!
Sector scan.
jeez.
And
Sprinting.
movement
jeez.
plans.
Mars.
So that means you have to have the dome within the radius, or the thing within the radius of the dome. So when I first built my dome, I just kind of plopped it down and then was like, oh crap, what a waste of a dome. It's not near one of these things. And they don't like take a car there. Or at least I didn't notice that at the time.
Vinny,
I just
what
felt
do
like I've talked a lot.
you have. What do you think of this?
It's got an interesting loop. I think the micromanaging of people I find a little tedious. We did have a kid in this dome. I should probably build a nursery. There are some things I just find a little too tedious right now, and maybe they get automated later.
Right.
But I'm not exactly thrilled with the loop of it. And I'll probably play a little bit more to see what happens, but the carrot on this stick is not super appealing at this stage in the game.
But, like, what is the actual carrot? Like, what
That's
is
right.
the victory condition?
Great. You've asked my question.
Okay, you don't know.
I don't know.
All
Build
right.
bigger domes? I mean, there are milestones. Let's see if they are here. So you can try and run down these milestones.
But once you hit all those milestones, like, does something happen? Is there, like,
I
does
don't
the
know.
secret
I
of
haven't-
Mars
I want to
factor
build
in?
I want to build a mega dome.
Who wouldn't?
I want to see what that is. I want to construct a wonder. I want to see what that is. I want to know what that mystery thing
Yeah.
is, right? But I still feel like I am constantly having to touch the plates to spin them, and by this point in some of these games, I want the machine to be running a little bit better on its
Like, you
own.
want to be building toward bigger plates and not worrying
Yeah.
about the smaller ones you still have.
Yeah, and again, some of the stuff is just not explained well. There are a decent amount of tutorials, and I think an odd thing, if I can get back to the menu, not an odd thing because I believe it actually is sponsored, but we'll go back to the main menu here if it's still up there. Yeah, this tutorial by Quill18
What?
is very good. Also sponsored by Paradox, but like go check it out on
Okay,
YouTube if
cool.
you need to figure out some of the things that are just not explained very well within the game. I'm a little tired of games like that.
Yeah.
Where I need to have the wiki open next to me to know it's that kind of Minecraft-esque style thing of
But
like
Minecraft is super accessible. Even like you can, yes, go deep into it, but it's very accessible.
Like
without
if you just want to load up Minecraft and do dumb shit, like that,
You can
that's
do
right
that
there in front of
immediately.
you.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of similar here, but you'll make mistakes. And that stuff in Minecraft that I feel like years and years and years ago was like, oh, what are the recipes? What are these blocks? What should I be
Sure.
doing? That is now kind of maybe they put into the game a bit more where you just start with a bunch of recipes. But I remember in the beginning of Minecraft being like, I don't know, how do you make, what do you need to make an axe? 2 sticks and a thing? And they had to go look down the wiki. And it's a little bit like that. I'm a little tired of that. It does have an in-game glossary, but I even still feel like things like, hey, you're going to use this concrete up in a set pattern was not very well explained at the start. You know, it didn't take me that long, but I did have to kind of figure out like, oh, you're not, this is an RTS game where you're setting the extractor on the node and it's just going to pull out forever.
Right.
You're visually seeing what's being extracted. It's just a little different. So do I hate it? No.
Yeah.
Do I think it is a game that could use a couple of tweaks to make it a lot better? I think so.
Like, do you want a little bit more from it, maybe on the conceptual level, just to kind of, you know, ease some of the issues?
Do I want colonizing Mars to be a little more exciting?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's, I think, my biggest thing. Like, I want it to be a little more like woohoo, and maybe a less realistic of like, yeah, no, it's managing people, baby, and like power. That's like what, and water. Like, oh, okay, yeah, I guess
That's
know.
fair.
I guess so. Anyway, that is Surviving Mars, $40. Hope that wasn't just a huge exposition and info dump.
For a game like this, I'm not sure there's much else you can do.
Again, there's a lot of mod stuff here, and I think they're putting a lot of chips in that bucket. I have not necessarily gone down this at all. So maybe that's what people want to, of like, hey, we're going to reconstruct a mission here, or a movie, or Ghost of Mars. I haven't done that. I just wanted to put people on Mars, and I've done it. So thank you for Surviving Mars with me.
And
Thank
that's
you,
Steam, PlayStation, and Xbox, right?
I
believe so, yeah.
Is it really? It's on consoles?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
According to Google, yes.
Wow.
Is it out now? I haven't seen that.
I think so.
So that's cool. If it is, thanks, Abby, for bringing that knowledge to our attention.
I'll make sure it's out now, but yep, available on PlayStation, Xbox.
Weird.
Yeah.
Wild.
I could see using a controller with this.
Yeah.
Right. It doesn't seem like one, though.
No.
I've been using a lot of hotkeys and shortcut keys, but I could probably see it mapped to a controller. Very PC seeming game.
Yes.
I wouldn't have even thought to look that up.
No.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.